Welcome to the second video of our 12-foot trailer project using the frame generator. This video is going to include steps 3 and 4, which are the vertical supports or uprights and the top rails. And so whenever we're looking at these steps, when we're thinking about how we will go about doing it in Inventor, we need to break it down. So we'll have a sketch that will be for our driver's side or left side, a sketch that will be for our front uprights and top rail, and then a sketch that will be for our passenger side or right side. And so on this particular trailer, we have the cut list. It's 2x2 by 3/16 angle. The height of those is 16 inches. And then we have dimensions. Again, one thing that I look for when I'm grading these types of projects is accuracy, as far as did they place them the right distance apart. Is it from front side, or the back side of the angle? What our measurements are. So if you look at our distances between our uprights for the left side. Now in this trailer, I will clarify, the left side and the right side are two different, they're different. And so by that, on the passenger side, we will have a gate or a ramp that goes on this right side here, the passenger side. So our left side and our right side will be different. So you'll need to make sure you're aware of that. But like I said, are we looking at, our measurements? So at the back of and I'll zoom in, at the back of our trailer, the angle iron is facing back, and our measurement is from the very back to the back side here, and so on and so forth. And behind our fenders, they're faced, this upright is facing forward. And so paying attention to those types of details is what really sets the kids apart. And it also, paying attention to those details whenever they get out to the shop is important in building their shop projects. And so I'm going to clean up the marks there, but we'll go ahead and get started. I like to do the sides first, so I'm going to start with the left side. I'm going to start with the left side here, and then we'll work our way through the front and the right side. So we'll open up our part. This is our skeleton frame part that we created in the previous video. We already have our main frame and our cross members done, and so we will just continue on. The nice thing about the frame generator is you can do all of these steps, or almost all of them. You won't be able to do all the steps in the plans, but there is a lot of it that you can do out of this one part file. We can just add sketches, and essentially each sketch will be a step. Now for the top rails and uprights, we'll have to do a sketch for each of the three sides that have those, but for the most part, you can go through and do everything off of this one part. Now I'm going to start 2D sketch. I'm going to start with the YZ, and this YZ is on our left side, or our driver's side. So when we click on it, the front of our trailer will be over to the left, or towards our axis here. This side is the rear of our trailer. I'm going to project geometry, and what I want to project, I'm going to project the point here. Now you can project the whole line, but I'm going to project the points at the end, the front and the back, and then I'm going to draw a line. Remember, our upright is 16 inches from the bottom of the main frame to the bottom of the top rail. And so from our main frame sits above this line, and so we'll go from the here up 16. Now I'm going to use the offset tool, and I'll come back and look at my dimensions. So it's 22, 22, and so I'll go back and forth here, but on the offset 22, then 22. Now whenever you start placing your materials using the frame generator, you need to make sure that you're placing them the right direction and on the right side or the correct side of the line. So here it's 30 3/8. So we'll offset, and we're working from the back to the front. And so that's important to remember. 21 1/16. 21.0625. 23 1/4. And then our last one, if everything comes out correctly, it should be 3/16 from the front edge of our trailer frame. So 23 1/8, 23.125. And so we'll finish sketch. Now, if we were to come to tools, now this is found either in inspect or tools. It's the measure tool. We measure, it should be 2 3/16. So our upright is 2 inches plus 3/16. So everything is correct there. Now, I will come back to my sketch, and so we have everything for our driver's side done. I'm going to open up the sketch again, and then I'm going to draw my top rail. Now, in the printed plans, the top rail is step 4. Now, you can go ahead and add it. I combine them typically, the top rail and the uprights. I'll usually combine those steps together just to save some time. Now, I'm going to start my next sketch. Now, depending on how your views or how your drawing is set up, you know, my plane here, my XY plane, is at the front of my trailer. So I will go ahead and start my front top rail and uprights. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to project geometry on my 2 points. And then I'm going to look at my drawings. And so, you know, here, we'll zoom in a little bit, but it's 24 1/2 from outside of frame to backside of my upright, and I only have the 2 uprights in the middle. And so, and then on the other side, it's 22 1/2 to the front side. And so it's real important to pay attention to the plans. You know, 24 1/2 to the back side is the same as 22 1/2 to the front side. But it does get confusing if you're not careful. So we'll go ahead and project geometry. I'm going to just draw 2 lines, 16 inches tall. I'm going to change my view to the front, make it a little easier. And then, you know, like I said, here, you know, this is kind of confusing, especially, you know, kids starting out there. A lot of times they don't pay attention. 24 1/2 on one side and 22 1/2 on the other. But you got to pay attention to what side of the line. I'm just going to go 22 1/2. And I'm going to do the same thing from the other way. And that way it's a little easier for me to remember. I'm not having to remember, you know, different things for each side. And then I'm going to project geometry. I will draw my top rail across. And so now I have the front, and now these right now do not line up. So whenever we start adding it, we can use some features in the frame generator and make those line up the way they should. The last thing I got to do is the passenger side. And so I'm going to start 2D sketch. Now you can use offset plane, or you can click and drag this plane, but we need a plane on this passenger side. So a lot of times it's easy. You just click it, drag it the direction you want. Our trailer frame is 78 inches wide, so we're going to go minus 78. Now, again, depending on how your drawing is, you might have to do a minus sign or negative 78, or you might do 78, just depending on which way it moves. If it moves the wrong direction, just make an adjustment accordingly. So we'll hit enter. Now our sketch for this passenger side, we're going to do the exact same thing. Now our sketch itself will be a little different. We know our front and our back will be in the same place, but we'll have some differences in the cross members in the middle. And so I will project geometry for the front and the back. And I'm looking at it. So we will have 22, 22, and we'll do the same thing that we did for the other side. So offset. Let me change this a little bit. Oops. I'm going to project the point here and redraw it. So 16, enter, offset, 22, 22, 30.375, and then I'm going to come back and look. So between these, it's 14 and 15 sixteenths, and so 15 sixteenths is 0.9375, and so 14.9375, and then it's 50 and a half, and then finish sketch. And actually I need to go back. I was a little trigger happy. I need to come back here and I need to add my top rails. And so on this side we have a gate or a ramp, fold down ramp. And so I need to leave an opening for that. Finish sketch. Now I'm going to turn off the work plane visibility. I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to right click, turn off visibility, and now I can see I have my top rail. So we'll go ahead and save. So I have driver side, front, and then passenger side. Save. Now when I open up my final assembly, my assembly file that we created earlier, it's already updated with the new sketch features. So our skeleton frame is already updated. I'm going to go ahead and do a local update. That's the little lightning bolt here. That just ensures all the components are the most recent. So all of our frame and everything is the most recent up-to-date files. Now I'm going to start doing our frame generator just like we did for the main frame and the cross members. This one, it can get tricky, so we got to pay attention, you know, which side of the line are we on, which direction is our, you know, our uprights going on. So I'm going to go to Design, Insert Frame, and then I'm going to come and look at our drawing. So it's from our plans, it's 2 by 2 by 3/16. So I will select 2 by 2, 3/16, and then I'm going to go more or less one at a time to make sure that my uprights are in the right direction. So, looking here, our back ones are facing backwards, and so I will place it, and then I'm going to rotate it using the rotate here under orientation. I'm going to rotate it until it's facing the direction I want. So, normally you'll rotate it by 90-degree increments. So 90, that didn't rotate it, 180, and now it's facing the right direction. Now I just got to orient, or move the orientation around these 9 buttons here, these 9 dots, and so, sometimes it's easier to change the view to move them, but now we're facing the right way, we're in the right orientation. I'm going to go ahead and add that. You can use the plus sign here, and it'll go ahead and save that, and then I can move on to the other side. Again, same thing, we will change our degrees until we get until we get the right orientation we want, and then we'll move it, check it, so everything is good there, and then we'll just work our way through it. Now you can do some of this at the same time, some of these uprights, but with these uprights, a lot of them are facing different directions, or it's front to back or whatever. It's easier probably just to do it one by one. We'll go across the driver's side or the left side, and then we'll work on the front and the driver or the passenger side. So we'll add our next. We'll move it, and we'll double check, which side of the line we need to be on. So add, we'll move to the next one. So it'll be to the flat side. And we'll just work our way across. You will have to move them accordingly. And this is the part where a lot of students will mess up. They will put their uprights on the wrong side of the line. And what I mean by that is we can go, if we're looking at it from the side, we can either go on the right side or the left side. We obviously want it on the outside of our main frame. And so those are the details that really, when a kid is building a project, really makes the difference. Now, I'm going to come to the front. So we'll do the front. Look at our drawing. So it's 24.5 to, it's 22.5 to the outside, 24.5 to the inside. We did 22.5, so the way we want it is we'll rotate it, And again, sometimes it's trial and error. We can also use the flip end button. And so we'll get it to where it's facing right. So now it's facing the right way. We just we'll need to make sure we put it on the right side or the correct side of the line. And so it's being sometimes it's kind of hard to get these buttons that are right on the line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset it just a smidge so I can get that. And so now we should be good for that one. I'm going to do the opposite side. And we should be good there. And then we'll work our way down the passenger side. And this would be a good time to go ahead and hit the save button. You know, it's pretty important that you save often. Sometimes Inventor likes to crash randomly right in the middle of your projects. So make sure you save frequently. Just hit the little save button here at the top. And then we're going to work our way down this passenger side. And so we'll go ahead. I was just double checking. Insert frame. We're going to start at the front and make sure that we have it the orientation correct. So it's going to be pointing to the back. We'll rotate it. And then with the newer or versions of Inventor, they have these buttons here in the main screen, which makes it kind of, like I said, it's kind of hard to put them in or click the right buttons from time to time. Sometimes you can offset them, remove them. That way you can click them. Because a lot of times it is wanting to add another piece of angle. It's clicking or wanting to assign other lines a piece of angle. And so sometimes makes it a little difficult. Now we'll rotate again. Make sure we're pointing the right direction. Now we'll double check our drawings. And so now we are correct here. We'll hit apply and create. And then we'll just work our way through the rest of these. So we'll work through it. Pay attention to which side of the line you need to be on. Again, you can rotate or you can offset, doing kind of as you need. Now, this particular file or upright, I placed on the wrong side of the line. If you do place it on the wrong side of the line, you can right-click, edit with frame generator, and then you can change it. You can change the materials if you need to. And so it does make it pretty easy to do that. We'll come through So we're to the back side, insert frame. And we'll work our way across. So behind the fender, this 30 3/8 is where our fender would go. So it'd be to the back side. This one will be facing forward. Apply. And this is kind of time consuming, kind of tedious, but once you get it down, kind of understand it, pay attention to where the materials need to go, it does get easier. And so I'm going to rotate, and then again I'm going to double check so it's to the back side of my angle, and so I will move accordingly, hit apply, and now we have our uprights in place. Now for our top rail, we'll scroll down. Our top rail is 2x3 angle. The 3-inch is flat across the top. The 2-inch is the vertical on the inside. And so if you notice there is a note right here that you will need to grind or cut clearance on the inside of the top rails. And so what you can do in the shop, you would take a grinder, flatten it down. In Inventor, what we would need to do, and we'll do it before we do the top rails, I'm going to turn off the sketch for now, or the sketch, these lines. You can do that by pressing F10, and then I'm going to come down, and what I'm going to do to replicate cutting that notch is I'm going to do a sketch. And so I'm going to do a sketch on these uprights, and so I'll do it on the two side rails first, and then I'll do it for the front here in a minute. But I'm going to project geometry, and then all I'm going to do is do a sketch. We'll just draw a 3/8 square, 0.375, and then I'll just draw a line. So all I'm going to do is just draw a triangle. And so we'll do the same thing, 0.375, enter, 45 degrees, and then connect it. You can do the square, draw the diagonal. But I'm going to finish sketch, and then I'm going to do 3D model, and 3D model extrude, and I'm going to select those two triangles. And I'm just an extrude. Remember, extrude adds or removes material. And so I'm just an extrude through the length of our trailer, which is 144 inches. And it will remove those corners. And so now we'll do the same thing for the front. And so I'm going to start 2D sketch. I'm going to project the top and the sides. And then I'm going to draw the same thing, 0.375. And I'm just making up this number. You can, you can put however you want. Finish sketch. And now I want to extrude both directions, so I can use symmetric, and it's going to go both ways from that drawing. And now I have that notch from our notes here in our drawing. Now we'll go ahead and add our top rail, insert frame. I'm going to turn on my sketch again. That is F10. So insert frame. We are doing unequal sides now. 2 by 3, 2 by 3 by 3/16. So we'll come down 2 by 3 by 3/16. And now we will do it one side at a time, and we'll put it in. I'm going to rotate it to where the 3 inches out and the 2 inches down. I'll flip ends. So now we'll need to raise our side rail, side top rail to where we'll offset, and again, where it is above the top of our upright. And so we'll use offset. Again, the offset, a lot of times for me, it's kind of trial and error. We want to offset where it is inside of our side rails and at the top of it. So we'll do 3/16, 0.1875. Now, we notice our preview here, it went the wrong direction. So if it happens to do that, put a negative sign in it, negative 0.1875. And so now it's on the inside of our upright, and then we want to raise it. So 0.1875. Again, if it went the wrong way, if it were to go down, put a negative sign. We'll hit the plus sign, and then we will work our way around. We'll do the same thing. So now that looks like it is good for the front. It is on the inside and on the top. We will come over to the side here, and we're just going to work our way checking each side. So we're good. And then we'll do the last part of our top rail back here and double check that. And so that one should be good as well. So we'll hit OK. Now, when we look at it, I'm going to turn off the sketch again, use an F10. So we can look at our corners. We can look, and these aren't quite lining up, right? And so we will use some of these features in frame, trim and extend. You could use lengthen and shorten. A lot of times I find trim and extend to be kind of the quickest. And so I'm going to select the face using trim and extend, select the face, and then I'm going to select the frame members that I want to trim. And so it'll extend it, it'll trim it if it's too long, hit OK. I'm going to extend, trim and extend. So I want to extend my front rail to the edge of my side rails. And so now I hit OK on that, or hit plus sign. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm selecting this flat face here, and then selecting my part that I want to move, hit OK, and then I want to extend this one to there, and so now we can, we'll just double check our back ones. We can do the two sides. As long as it is trimming to the same face, then you can do multiple parts. And then looking at our drawings, and so everything looks good. The last thing would be for us to round the corners. The radius of 1, that's rounding these corners. You know, now ideally, we would be able to just use, if we go to 3D model, we could use fillet, but because this angle is rounded on this edge, normally the fillet doesn't work real well. We can, you know, if we were to try it, it's wanting to fillet this entire profile. If we look at it from the other way, it's wanting to round that entire profile. So typically on something like that, what I would do is I'm going to do a sketch, start 2D sketch on the top rail, and it doesn't matter which one. I just did it on the front. I'm going to project geometry, and it is on all 4 corners of our trailer, except for right here at this walk-through gate. And then I will just draw a 1 inch by 1 inch square in each of the 4 corners. Sometimes there's not always a tool that works right, so you have to make do. So we'll do 1 by 1, and then I'm going to use fillet. I'm going to select 1 inch for my radius. And what I'm going to have to do, because the way this is working, I'm going to have to come back and I will just add some lines. Actually, let's see if this will work real quick. So I'm going to 3D model, extrude, and it should work. There it goes. Sometimes you have to have the lines all drawn, other times you don't, but we're extruding the corner, and then so now we have everything the way it should be. And so with that, we'll finish. Again, this was part or video 2. It is steps 3 and 4, which were the uprights and top rails. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.